Today, we're going over steps that you can take to drastically increase your credit limit. This not only gives you more room to spend, which means more rewards, but also boosts your credit score and gives you the best rates for mortgages and loans. I'll also be requesting a credit limit increase live for one of my cards. And with these tips and tricks, along with my 5-year credit card journey in the US, I've amassed over $94,000 in credit limit across my 6 cards, with cards ranging from $30,000 in the limit down to $6,000 in limits, all while maintaining a credit score in the high 700s. And so as you're going through your credit card journey, I want you to be aware of these 5 things that make up your credit score. Because not only does your credit score play a major part in qualifying you for higher credit limits, but also enhances a bunch of other aspects of your life. It's kind of like a loop. You take steps to build and maintain a good credit score, which will then allow you to get more credit lines and higher credit limits. With that high credit limit, you're able to lower your overall utilization ratio, which again increases your credit score. So with whatever credit limit you have today, be sure to spend less than 30% of that available credit and less than 10% if you can. This is called keeping your credit utilization low and is one of the major aspects that build up your credit score. That way, lenders and these companies will see that you have credit and you're able to constantly and responsibly use that credit, making you a safer borrower that they can then extend more credit to. Because these banks and companies are actually on the same page as us. They want to extend you more credit so then you can spend more, which means they profit more from the increase in credit card fees and interchange fees. So say you have 4 different credit cards with $5,000 in credit limit each. That means you have a total of $20,000 of credit limit. With that limit, you'll want to stay below $6,000 of spend every month, which is 30%, or ideally less than $2,000 in spend, which is 10%. If you regularly spend, say, $10,000 every month, that's way too high at a 50% ratio. But maybe after watching this video, you go ahead and build up a higher credit limit of say $50,000. That same spend of $10,000 will only be 20% utilization, which is much better but not perfect. Having a high credit limit never really hurts because it'll just help you lower your utilization ratio and gives you a way out if you somehow really need that extra room to spend on or have an emergency. And now tip number 2, both doubles as the most important part of your credit score and one of the most important factors companies look at when they decide to extend you more credit. And that's frequent on-time payments and ideally payments that are made in full every single month. Affecting a whopping 35% of your credit score, these are habits that you want to build and maintain for the rest of your life. Imagine back in school and you lend your classmate a couple dollars here and there for snacks or for food, but you never got your money back, or it takes weeks or even months to get the few dollars back. Well, if they were to ask you today for $20 or $100, you probably don't really want to lend money to them. It's the same here. Always making full on-time payments will show the companies that you can borrow money and pay it back on time every single time, which will give them more confidence that you will continue to do so even if they give you more credit. The frequency of your payments could also play a part too, where instead of paying just once every month, you can spread that out to multiple smaller payments. Doing so could mean a lower utilization ratio is reported to the bureaus, making it look like you're using less credit than you are, and companies can see that you're using their product a lot and then extend more credit to you, which goes hand in hand with the next step to keep using your card frequently. Say you have $10,000 in credit limit, but you only use the card once a year for a $5 coffee. Well, then there's no reason for the company to extend you more credit, and that's for 2 reasons. 1, if you have almost all of your credit left anyways, why do you need more? To the company, there is no benefit given you've shown that you rarely use their product, so there's no point to take extra risk and give you even more credit. And 2, you're just not a high value customer. Credit card companies usually make most of their money through interchange fees. Basically, every time you tap or swipe your card at a business, Visa or MasterCard or another network will take anywhere from 1 to 3% of that purchase and give it to them. So the less you spend, the less they earn money. Using your credit frequently is also explicitly laid out in Chase and American Express pages too, 2 companies you'll be well aware of in the credit card space. And speaking of these companies, a quick tip is also to never max out your credit cards. Yes, it might be obvious to some, but these companies explicitly call this out as a factor they check for increasing your credit limits. My guess is there's probably a signal for high utilization and then a separate signal if you ever max out your credit card. And although we're talking about credit limit increases here, it's possible to get your credit limit decreased as well. As American Express states on their page, if you miss payments or max out your card often, you might get your limit clawed back. Minimum card history lengths. Now another thing to note is that you should wait a while after getting a new card to even request for a credit limit increase. Just like you wouldn't lend money to someone you just met on the street, credit card companies won't offer you the highest credit limits when you just signed up with them. They want to see a period of you properly using the card and paying it off in full every single month. Depending on the company, you might start with a really low limit like a few $100s or a few $1,000s. But stick to it, practice good credit habits, and over time you'll build up a track record of being a good customer and qualify you for credit limit increases. Usually you want to wait at least 6 months after you get the card to even attempt a credit limit increase. Keep your personal info and income updated. Okay, this one is really important. You might have noticed that from time to time when you log into your account, you might get a pop-up showing you your personal info and income with an ask that you verify that it's still up to date, and if not, update it. And until recently, I thought it was annoying and I ignored it every single time. Big mistake. What I should have done is update it whenever things change, especially your income. For most of you watching, you probably have income, yearly bonuses, yearly raises, side hobbies that generate you more income, or investments. Although probably not this year given how the markets have been doing. Most, if not all of these, can and should be included in your income. In some cases, they even ask for your supplemental income in case anyone helps you with your month-to-month bills. Just like having a high credit utilization ratio is bad, having a high debt to income ratio isn't great either. Say person A makes $50,000 a year and person B makes $150,000 a year. Who's most likely to get a $25,000 credit limit? Well, that would probably be person B, because for person A, that would be offering them a credit limit of half their income for the whole year. Not the greatest. That said, in most cases, this number is more of an honor system. But if the number is too strange or just outrageous, then the company can and will send you official forms to prove that that is your income. So of course, try your best to give a truthful answer. Signing up for a charge card. Now, charge cards work slightly different compared to credit cards, where you don't have a set credit limit, but you have to pay off the bill in full every single month. Although there are recent programs for these charge cards that let you pay over time like a credit card, but in either case, you should be paying off your bill in full every single month anyways. And so all that means is that with charge cards, you essentially have an unlimited credit limit. Two popular charge cards are the American Express Gold and the American Express Platinum card that I have here. And so now that you know all the best habits and best ways to prepare yourself for a credit limit increase, how do you actually get one? The big factor to know about these requests is if they're going to be doing a soft pull or a hard pull. Soft pulls are fine because they don't affect your credit score, but hard pulls will drop your credit score and stay on your credit report for at least a couple years. Thankfully, it seems like most companies are moving towards soft pulls for credit limit requests, but make sure you check first. I'll link a list down below for a list of credit card companies and what they do, but some major ones are American Express and Capital One doing soft pulls, while Chase used to only do hard pulls, but it seems like that's changing and some people are seeing the option to request on the app, which will only trigger a soft pull. I checked my app and I still don't have it, so I'm unable to show you all here. Alright, so there are two main ways to get credit limit increases, and the first one is just patience and wait for it to happen automatically. As you frequently use your card and practice good credit habits, after 6 months or so, they'll regularly monitor your account and automatically bump up your credit limit little by little. And the second way is to actually ask for an increase, either by calling in or doing it online depending on the company. But in this video, we'll be going over step by step how to request for a credit limit increase on my Capital One Venture X card. Which means right now I don't know what the decision will be, either I get the increase or I get rejected. Being one of my favorite cards in recent time, I frequently use the card, never missed a payment, and have had it open for around a year now. So it's checked all the major boxes, preparing me for a credit limit increase. And so let's jump right in and see what happens. Cool, so now that I logged into my Capital One portal and chose the card that I want to increase my credit limit on, I can go ahead and click I want to, and then I'll just type in credit limit, which will show me the button to request credit line increases. So I click that, and out comes the form that I need to fill out to request for an increase. So let's go through these one by one. Total annual income, like I said earlier, that's the total amount of income from all sources that you have. For more details, they do show you here for personal income, as well as shared income if someone else is regularly depositing into your account and helping you. This is one of the more important fields to really fill out. Next, you have employment status. You can do employed, self-employed, and others, but I think employed will actually get you the best chance because that's the one that's most predictable to have a stream of income, not saying that you can't make money with being self-employed. Next, occupation. I'm not really sure what they do with this, but just fill in what your occupation is. Next is monthly rent or mortgage, and this is important because it'll help calculate your debt to income ratio. Say if you're making $10,000 a month, but you're paying like $6,000 in rent. That's not a good ratio. You want to make sure that you're pretty comfortable where you're at. Then it'll ask you how much you'll spend each month on this credit card. So here I would choose what credit limit you want, and then maybe set 20 to 30% of that for your monthly spend. But make sure this is high enough that it justifies some sort of increase. Because if you're barely gonna increase your spend, then they might feel they don't need to give you more credit. Then next is the maximum desired line. You can go high here because if anything, they'll either just say no or counter you with a lower number. And then of course, why are you requesting this credit limit increase? There's a lot of different responses. I have a large upcoming one-time purchase, higher expenses, and yada, yada, yada. But I think I would choose I expect higher expenses over the next months to show that this is not a one-time thing and you will need this higher credit limit. So I'm gonna go through, fill this out, and see what happens. Alright, so I went through, filled out the form, and I'm currently at $30,000 credit limit right now. So I entered this much to see how much I can get. Maybe they'll accept it, maybe they'll reject it, or counter me with something in between, but I'm gonna press submit and let's see where it goes. Alright, so it seems I'm not getting anywhere near that amount. Maybe it's because it's already a pretty high limit and I've only had it for a year, but it is an increase of about 10%. So from 30,000 to 33, and yeah, I'm just going to accept the 33K. Alright, and that's it. Just fill out the form, press submit, did it all online, and now I have a higher credit limit. Now that was the Capital One flow, but American Express, Chase, and other companies probably have their own versions of either online portals or calling in. So just figure out how your credit card company wants you to handle it. And then finally, another way to get more credit limit is to apply for a new credit card. Yes, there will be a hard pull and it's not something you can do that often, but new cards will usually give you major boosts to your overall credit limit, which will then allow you to lower utilization ratio too. And so go on and check out this video for the best travel cards or this video for the best cashback cards. See you over there.